Everything you've talked about to this point is your experience pre-Nationwide. The transition then to get into this independent retail space, a lot of what you've learned, you've been able to apply now in this new opportunity that you have to get the message in front of these dealers.
These are more, large purchases. They aren't impulse buys. And so the strategy changes a little bit, but I still think that at the end of the day, when shoppers are doing their research online, when they're thinking about making one of these big ticket purchases, there's so many things that you could be doing in that last 3 feet to drive them to choose to make the purchase at your location versus anywhere else.
Welcome into the Independent Thinking Podcast. This is your host, Rob Stott. Rolling right along with our primetime podcasts here this week on the podcast, and diving into a topic that we've talked about in various formats over the years on the Independent Thinking, both in the form of the podcast and certainly on our blog, the Independent Thinking blog for Nationwide Marketing Group, and that's digital signage. Something that permeates the commercial space. We have vendor partners that offer our commercial integrator members the opportunity to install digital signage into their client spaces. But also on the retail side, we have a number of opportunities available to retailers to put digital signage in their own spaces, both in the form of the physical TVs and programs that we've got there, but also the content that runs right along with it. So diving into more that side specifically today and talking with Lauren Hylarides, a senior product manager here at Nationwide Marketing Group that focuses on digital signage and a member of the marketing team here that I get to call home at Nationwide. And always fun when you get a couple of colleagues that work closely together to dive into a topic that they both care about and are passionate about. And that's what we got to do while we were together in Las Vegas at primetime, and learned a little bit something about Lauren too. We work closely, but it's always cool, I think, to have these conversations and see people in their in their happy space, if you will, as she was leading a Nationwide Learning Academy session on this exact topic. So watching that go down, it dawned on me while we were there that this needed to happen. This interview, this podcast episode needed to happen, and she was kind enough to accept the on-site invite to participate, and glad we had the chance to dive into it because there's so much to learn in this space. A lot of opportunities to engage your customers as they're shopping your store, to activate digital signage throughout a retail space, and even your employees. Lots that they can take advantage of and learn from, as and even get more ingrained into the culture of your company through the use of digital signage. So much to dive into around this topic that it felt like maybe one episode isn't even enough. So I feel like we'll have multiple conversations around this into the future, and share content in many formats to help you learn about the possibilities when it comes to digital signage. But let's tee it off here with Lauren. So a nice setup episode to give you kind of the brief overview on what it is, how it works, and like I said, the opportunities that are out there to you in the digital signage space. So let's dive into it. This is Lauren Hylarides here on the Independent Thinking Podcast. All right, we are back on the Independent Thinking Podcast, and we are coming to you from Nationwide Marketing Group's primetime event here in Las Vegas. And Miss Lauren Hylarides, appreciate you sitting down with me and agreeing. No arms were really twisted super bad to do this, but you're here.
Bad shoulders.
I know, we don't want to hurt you.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you taking the time, sitting down with us, and diving into a topic that I learned. I thought we're on the same team here at Nationwide, and thought I know you pretty well. We collaborate often, talk often. Didn't realize your background was so heavy in digital. I knew, obviously, the media sign TV, work that you do. Now I know why.
Yeah, I like to be an enigma. I always like for there to be something new to learn about me. Keeps things interesting.
Well, it's incredible. So I want to start there, but we're going to dive deep into digital signage today, and we either lost a lot of people with that comment. I hope we didn't, because it's a great topic.
It is.
They need to understand and learn more about, and because if they weren't at your NLA this morning, they missed out on a really great opportunity to learn about this space. So before we do that, though, share a little bit about your background and set the stage for this conversation.
Absolutely. So I have been working in digital marketing for about 10 years now, and there's been multiple facets of different roles that I've had that really dive deep into digital signage, the digital signage part of your digital marketing strategy. So I started at IMG College, now Learfield, and that was one of the most fun jobs I think you could ever have, especially coming out of college and being a diehard Tar Heel fan.
Yeah.
I didn't actually get to work with my Tar Heels, which was so sad.
You had some big brands.
I did.
Like, as someone looking over your shoulder as you were preparing for this, I was like, wait a minute, all those schools, you got, and not even just the schools, the athletic programs, right?
Yeah, specifically the athletic programs. So worked with about 24 properties, but some of the highlights were in the Midwest and the Northeast region. So the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Did they yell at you if you didn't emphasize the?
Oh, yes. That was very serious. That was the most important article of my life. And then University of Michigan, I got to meet Coach Harbaugh one time. Very intimidating man. Pitt and Rutgers, and just a lot of really cool teams to work with, really passionate fan bases. And that was one of the things that I learned really fast, especially in the digital signage and marketing and in-venue signage that I was working on, is you're really trying to tap into that fan base and the passion and the affinity that they have for those teams. And there's a lot of data to mine there, and it's a really fun messaging strategy once you tap into it.
The two schools at the top there you mentioned too, I feel like you learned a lot about the hate for one another too. Michigan and the Ohio State.
They would ask me, so have you talked to the blue boys over there lately? There was actually between those teams, a really friendly competition, so that was always a good time. It wasn't too combative, which was good.
No, that's awesome. So then from there?
Yeah, so again, kind of tapping in, doing a lot of data analytics on the fans in the arenas and in the stadiums, and just trying to figure out the best messaging to drive them to a certain behavior, whether that be to download an app, to go visit a store the next time they're out and about and shopping, or there were some B2B things in there as well. So there's always a different message depending on the business and what we're trying to get that fan to do.
Yeah.
Based on where they are, because they can't go to your appliance store if they're sitting at a Buckeyes game. But we want them to remember you. We want them to associate your brand with that feeling and that excitement that they have around the game. So that was a really fun way to, I think, get my first exposure to digital signage and how that can really drive shoppers.
And you talk big scale too, I have to imagine, like the opportunities and just the creativeness you could have, creativity within a stadium.
Fun. Yeah.
Everything from the scoreboard to all the did they, when you were working with them, the strip LEDs that go around?
Oh yes,
like
that was a really fun one, because technically you're working with kind of a small amount of space, but it's so impactful. So many eyeballs there, and that's one of the valuable and pieces of digital signage is how dynamic it is and how creative you can be in such a small space. And it just draws in eyeballs. So when they're sitting there and, they've hopefully don't have an injury on the field, but maybe they do and there's some downtime, or they're re-looking at a play, those fans are looking around, and I think we've all experienced this, but when you're sitting there, if you don't have your phone in front of you, your eyeballs are constantly looking for some other screen. Maybe not the healthiest.
Hey, we're humans.
We're humans.
In the 21st century.
That's right. So, so that was a really great learning experience on digital strategies, digital in-store or displays. And then I moved to Inmar Intelligence, which is a data-driven MarTech company. I really focused on digital promotions while I was there. How do we connect these brands to the independent grocery retail space to get them really good offers for their shoppers, to make them really competitive with larger chain groceries. And a big part of that was, what are the digital channels that we're going to use to spread that, to give shoppers access to those promotions and offers. And so again, we started exploring in-store digital signage, because that's really, when you're thinking about the shopper journey, you're right there. You're so close physically to transaction.
Got them there, right.
Yeah, you've got the biggest hurdle.
Yeah.
They are through your doors. So then how do we leverage the space in the store to really drive shoppers to make a purchase?
Right.
And again, very tailored, very strategic messaging and visuals in the store, sharing those promotions, encouraging shoppers to download loyalty programs and offers and apps, and to scan a QR code to get their $2 off of their flour or whatever it may be, probably more likely their P&G products. And then really that drives a lot of shoppers from browsing to buying.
Right.
And that's really what we're trying to do with digital strategies. And I think another big piece of it was learning the importance of cohesion between your online and in-store experience.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I think gets lost in the digital story. People hear digital and they think website, they think online, programmatic advertising. Very rarely do you hear digital and you think of your store, your showroom floor, your grocery retail space. And so I think that's a big missed opportunity, but it's a really powerful one, because you're so close to the finish line. They're so close to making a purchase. It seems like a big miss to not have your story shared just as dynamically there as it is online.
Well, what's awesome too about like everything you've talked about to this point is your experience Nationwide. And although the terms, the words you're hearing as a listener, or if you're watching this, they should be pretty familiar to the messages that we've been sharing and conversations we've been trying to have, here at Nationwide Marketing Group with our independent retailers. And the transition then, I like to get into this independent retail space. A lot of what you've learned, you've been able to apply now in this new opportunity that you have to get the message in front of these dealers.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm not unaware that there are very big differences between grocery purchases and then the categories that we're looking at with NMG. Right. These are more, large change of life purchases. They aren't impulse buys. And so the strategy changes a little bit. I think you're speaking to a customer in a different way, trying to drive different behaviors, more long-term commitments and consideration. But I still think that at the end of the day, when shoppers are doing their research online, when they're thinking about making one of these big ticket purchases, there's so many things that you could be doing in that last 3 feet to drive them to choose to make the purchase at your location versus anywhere else. And
that's just one time. Thinking back to your NLA this morning, one tactic or one approach to digital signage in your store. Because I want to get into that now, right? So the strategies that you presented, give kind of that, I don't know if we'll call it Cliff Notes, Spark Notes. Do you remember Spark Notes in school?
I love Spark
They were the
Notes.
best, but also the worst. Like if they didn't give enough detail that like when the discussion was going on.
Oh, and teachers knew.
They knew immediately.
They knew. They asked you exactly the questions that fell between those Spark Notes.
They read the Spark Notes too. They did. They did. So the Spark Notes then, because we don't want to give away, we want you here experiencing these NLAs, but. So the Spark Notes version to your NLA, what would you say?
Version.
How would you describe the messages you tried to deliver to our members today?
Your digital signage isn't just a throwaway piece. There's definitely not hard to do strategies, but thoughtful strategies that can make your investment in digital signage go a lot farther for you. Promotions and offers is always going to be the number one driver to purchase. That is a big hurdle in any ticket item for shoppers, but definitely a big ticket item. Anything that makes them feel like they're getting a good deal makes them feel good.
Yeah.
And then I think really just spotlighting, I think our members forget how valuable their expertise is, or maybe I hope they recognize it, but they could definitely be tooting their own horn a little bit more. And this is just one more channel to do that. And shoppers want to know that they're getting the 35 years, the 40 years, the multi-generational expertise that our retailers have, and that they can go back to these retailers. They want to know the services that you're providing. And those are really things that make a shopper feel more confident in making a large ticket purchase. And that's really a big difference maker between that and a big box competitor. Because when you go and you purchase something at a Lowe's, a Home Depot, an Ashley Furniture, I'm not saying they don't have great employees there, but you also have a lot of new hires. You have a lot more turnover and employee attrition at retailers like that. And so if I make a big ticket purchase, it feels a lot better to me that I could go in and talk to the same sales rep that I worked with, who gave me some advice on how to prolong the life of my dishwasher, versus if I go into a Home Depot and they have no idea what I'm talking about.
Right. Yeah. It allows you to the tooting of your own horn. It's something we know, just I think in engaging with these members and talking to them, they're humble, right? They're a humble type.
They're so nice.
They're very Southern. They had that Southern nature to them. But it is getting over that and understanding that you can leverage that expertise and that just the connection you have to your community, and just being able to do it through digital signage is just another way to kind of showcase that.
Very dynamic way.
Yeah.
It gives you an opportunity to tell a lot of different and very impactful stories through one medium. And I think every retailer that I have spoken to has multiple different team winners. I'll say people that they talk to me who are on their floor, who have been doing things for so long, who are really helpful with their shoppers. And I think employees are often an overlooked audience, and this performance, this behavior that you're trying to drive with your digital strategies, whether in-store or online, should also speak to your employees, because they can make the difference in whether a customer goes from browsing to buying.
And talk about another way, you can showcase your expertise while also showcasing your employees.
Exactly.
And you talk about making an employee feel good, to see themselves, represented in some way on in-store digital signage, celebrating them and talking about their experience and their expertise. So the customer's learning a little bit something about you, and the employees also learning, hey, they do appreciate everything I put into my role here.
They see the dedication, the years of service. Yeah.
I want to go back to your first point though about the deals, because you actually talked about during your NLA proof that I listened.
Oh.
There was a case
I don't have
study,
any more
right?
stickers. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, I want one of those the candies, right? Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. But there was a case study that you guys had done with Synchrony. So talk about that a little bit. And
so we did a test with Synchrony, and it was actually a static image. So I have a lot of high expectations that were we to do it with more dynamic video content, we might actually see even higher performance.
Right.
But even with a static image, we saw incredible performance with application sign up. So I think, I don't want to be misquoted here, I'll say like in the 25 to 27% range.
You know what we can do? We can take that graphic and put it right over here, so that you guys can see the numbers. We're talking about them.
Out.
Just look at them. You can just toot your own horn with the numbers here.
Perfect. We'll add in some dynamic content to this podcast. So we saw, a more than 20% lift in application signups per day.
Yep.
And we're talking about fully completed applications, not just I scanned the QR code and abandoned it. This is actually, we drove them all the way to the finish. We totally converted them through the application process. Wow. And then a 12% increase in net credit sales. So it just saw a really great lift. We saw firsthand that those in-store signage pieces do have an effect on the shoppers.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was a really solid story. And I think, again, one of the best practices that I will always encourage is, again, those big ticket items. They can be hard to swallow for me and for other shoppers, I know. And so having the financing options explained on the floor. I know finances can also sometimes be a little bit of a tricky conversation, and so just the more that you can share around what your financing options are, make it an easier pill to swallow for your customers. They have a better understanding of how they're going to be able to make this purchase. And so that's another really valuable way to leverage that in-store signage.
And awesome to see that members are having success with it too. It's the education, to your point about the experience can sometimes, that at the point of sale, applying there and not knowing what kind of result you're going to get either. Right. You can do that a little bit more privately, at your own pace. just it elevates that in-store experience, and you're doing it with a static image, which is crazy.
Yeah.
It could have been even more engaging, right? Like that's wild that it was that effective with.
We're doing another one.
Yeah.
And we're going to do more A/B testing to see what really drives performance, what really converts certain behaviors.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what our next test will do. Synchrony's been a really great partner in that. And so I appreciate their collaboration and willingness to explore this platform with us and see what we can do.
So I know you said during the NLA you did not want it to be a sales pitch, but
Right.
we are here on our podcast, and I'm going to
right.
give you the opportunity. You can now pitch that sale because everything you've talked about to this point, get ready,
All
loosen
right.
up, do what you need to do, get in the zone.
I'm not a salesperson, but I feel very passionately about this strategy and having it in your full toolkit as you're thinking about your digital strategy, because again, it's not just online.
Right.
And so as we've improved and developed the MediaSign TV solution, we've really taken into consideration how dynamic content needs to be flexible. It needs to be easily manageable. You have to have a really great solution and platform that's reliable. And so actually in April, we transitioned to a new platform. And our partner is Rockbot, so we're piggybacking their industry-leading operating system that they've developed. We're using their industry-leading hardware, and then on top of that, we're layering the NMG expertise. We're working with our shopper marketing teams, with our vendor partners to source all the latest and greatest content. So we have those libraries built up. So those promotions and offers, we're trying to funnel those in automatically. So there's not even a lift for our members. And so there's a lot of really great things that this platform is already capable of, but what I'm really excited about is just the growth opportunities and the new developments that we're working on and the new innovations that are coming down the pipeline. So I think it is a great solution. I'm happy to talk to anyone about it. I could talk about in-store signage at an embarrassing length of time.
It's already been 19 minutes, just FYI. No, like we've done it. Look at this. It's been incredible. We're doing really great here.
Oh my gosh. Edit this down.
No, but what I love about it, like that passion is important, right? It shows the expertise that's there, but also the care and attention that's being given to a space that has that potential, right? That you're talking about. And it's one of those, even if you're not here, we'll have all the links underneath to get in touch or learn more about it. We've got lots of them. Go down, go look at them. Click on them. Maybe even we'll throw a QR code, maybe get dynamic with it and
there
do like
go.
a little, maybe fade across the screen. I don't know. We'll give them a chance
I'll get Coach Harbaugh on here. Just kidding.
Give them every opportunity to learn about it because it is an importance. But we've seen, to your point, the case studies that are out there, that there are ways to have success with this, and that we've got a solution that's out there. Want to take the chance only because you're here and I want to see how ready you can get. Commend you on the work you've done. I know you've put a lot of effort into it, and just make sure that you know how awesome it is, and great to follow what you've done around this platform and everything with it. So, no, we appreciate it. Anything else you want to throw out there, like about digital signage? Kind of closing thoughts on it, or?
It's been a labor of love for me, but it doesn't have to be that for our members.
No.
It doesn't. It can be as easy or as complicated as you want it to be. So I just think it can seem like a large undertaking for some, especially if you've never explored digital signage or it's not something that you've considered in the past. I think my ending note, I will just say it's becoming a standard. It's an expectation with shoppers. I mentioned this in the NLA, but Dollar General's invested a ton in in-store digital signage, and so has Walmart. So, even at value retailers, there are very high expectations for the shopper experience. And I'm not saying that our members need to make Walmart size investments at all, but there are small steps that you can take to make your store seem just as technologically sophisticated as other retailers, as big box retailers. And I also think the content can be even more impactful on the independent retail scale than it can be on a large retail scale. Yeah,
and to be clear, like we've just scratched the surface of not only your NLA, but like this space. Because I know the first thing that probably comes to mind to a lot of people listening or watching is the TV displays, right? And like the movie trailer clips, because that's what a lot of people think about, especially in consumer electronics stores or TV stores. I mean, there's reasons why a bedding store should have TVs. How many? I forget the percent. We'll have to confirm the percentage. It's like 3/4 of TVs are in bedrooms. Like homes have TVs in their bedrooms. So like mattress store, why not have a few displays in there that you can showcase some of these offers and what else is going on with that? So I mean, when I say we've just scratched the surface, literally, there's so much more to learn about the space and a lot of education to be had. So appreciate you taking a little bit of time and doing it with us here on the podcast.
Thanks for coming to the NLA. Thanks for having me here. Any platform that I can talk about how fun I think this is.
Would not miss it. And anytime you want to be on the podcast, just let us know. All right?
All right.
Hey, we appreciate it. Awesome. And thanks again to Lauren. Like I said, it was a spur-of-the-moment kind of interview and offer on my behalf to get her onto the podcast and dive into this topic. And she was willing and able to do, and certainly showcased her knowledge and expertise in this area, and just the immense amount of benefit that she brings to the table for both Nationwide in the digital signage space, and of course as well our members who will be leaning on her as they dive deeper themselves into digital signage. So appreciate her taking that time. And as always, appreciate you listening to the Independent Thinking Podcast, and we'll catch you next time.